Why is it so hard to start what you know you need to do? That voice telling you to quit, it's your shadow. But ancient warriors like Miyamoto Musashi had a trick to face it head on. In this video, we'll uncover the shadow duel, a mental strategy that can force you to act and transform how you approach any challenge. Step 1. Understand the shadow. The samurai believed that every battle begins long before the swords are drawn. Miyamoto Musashi said, "In battle, if you make your opponent flinch, you've already won." But what if the opponent isn't someone else? What if it's the voice inside your head? The one whispering doubts and excuses. That voice is your shadow. It's not here to destroy you, but to challenge you. The shadow represents all the resistance you feel when facing something hard. It's the part of you that says, just scroll for a few more minutes, or start tomorrow instead. It wants to keep you comfortable, but in doing so, it holds you back. Samurai saw resistance as a kind of sparring partner. Instead of running from it, they faced it head on. Every practice swing, every strike was a duel, not just with their opponent, but with their own limitations. This is the first step, recognizing your shadow as part of you. It's not your enemy, it's a training ground. Each time you engage with it, you get stronger. Each time you flinch, it grows. When Musashi trained, he didn't aim for perfection. He aimed for progress. The same goes for confronting your shadow. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you're winning the duel. Over time, these small victories transform the shadow into something powerful, a reminder of your growth. The question isn't whether the shadow will appear. It will. The real question is, will you face it? Step 2. How the shadow duel works. The shadow isn't some vague idea. It's real, and it shows up every time you face something difficult. Resistance, doubt, laziness. It stands in your way like a shadowy version of yourself. But here's the trick. Instead of avoiding it, you face it. You duel it. Start by giving form to your resistance. Picture it clearly. Maybe it's a shadowy figure standing between you and your goals. Maybe it's a fog that clouds your mind. Whatever it is, acknowledge its presence. Say to yourself, "I see you, shadow. Let's duel." This first step is powerful. Instead of treating resistance as something to fear or avoid, you're reframing it as a challenge. The moment you feel like quitting or procrastinating, take it as a personal challenge. Imagine the shadow taunting you. You're too tired to work out. You'll never finish that project. Your response? Accept the duel. You think I can't do this, watch me. This shift turns resistance into a game. Instead of letting the shadow control you, you're stepping forward with intention. Here's where it gets practical. Your weapon isn't something complicated. It's the smallest possible action you can take. If the shadow says you can't work out, your weapon might be one push-up. If it says you can't write, your weapon might be a single sentence. Musashi said you can only fight the way you practice. This means small actions matter. Each one is training for bigger battles. When you focus on just one move, you take away the shadow's power to overwhelm you. Now take that action, fully commit to it. If you're doing a push-up, feel the effort in your arms. If you're writing a sentence, focus entirely on the words. Picture yourself outmaneuvering the shadow, one step at a time. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up. When the action is done, pause. Reflect on what you've just accomplished. Even if it's small, you've already weakened the shadow. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows stronger." But here's the twist. By confronting your resistance, you don't just weaken it, you grow stronger. Every duel adds to your momentum. The shadow will return, but each time you'll be better prepared. And over time, it won't just resist you, it'll push you to become better. That's the power of the shadow duel. Step 3. Symbolic narratives. Miyamoto Musashi didn't just duel others. His fiercest battles were with himself. He once wrote, "Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men." For Musashi, progress wasn't about comparing himself to others. It was about beating the person he was yesterday. When he trained, he wasn't just sharpening his blade, he was sharpening his mind. Each duel, each practice session was a battle with his inner shadow. Centuries later, Carl Jung would write about a similar concept. the shadow self. Jung believed that the shadow represents the parts of us we avoid, our fears, insecurities, and laziness. But here's the key. The shadow isn't something to destroy. It's something to integrate. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The shadow isn't your enemy, it's your guide. By understanding it, you gain control over it. Just like Musashi used each duel to refine his technique, you can use your shadow to refine your discipline. The samurai lived by a principle of constant refinement. Even in peacetime, they trained daily. The Hagakure explains, a warrior trains every day, even in peacetime, so he's ready for any battle. Samurai knew that the greatest enemy often lies within. By facing their shadow in practice, they prepared themselves for the chaos of real battles. This reflects the essence of the shadow duel. It's not about one fight, it's about daily refinement. Each time you face your resistance, you're preparing for the challenges ahead. Whether it's Musashi's duels, Jung's shadow theory, or samurai training, the lesson is clear. Confront your shadow, understand it, and use it to grow. Each step forward brings you closer to mastery. Step 4. Practical applications. The shadow duel isn't just a concept, it's a tool. You can use it in every area of your life. Let's break it down into real-world situations. Productivity. You sit at your desk. The cursor blinks on an empty document. The shadow appears. It whispers, not today, maybe later. Visualize it as a figure standing between you and your goal. Accept its challenge. Say, let's duel. Now take the smallest possible action. Write one sentence. Open that file. Tackle just one item from your to-do list. Momentum takes over. You move forward. The resistance fades. You can only fight the way you practice. Each small action is practice for bigger battles. Treat it as such. Fitness. The gym feels like a mountain today. Your shadow says, stay on the couch. Skip it this time. Pause. Imagine your shadow blocking the door. Challenge it. Say, if I can't do it all, I'll do just one thing. Lace up your shoes. Do a single push-up. The first step is the hardest, but it's also the most powerful. You don't need a perfect workout. You just need to show up. That's your strike. Fear creeps in before a big decision. Doubt clouds your mind. Your shadow whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not enough? This is the ultimate duel. Breathe deeply. Accept the fear. Say, this is my chance to grow. Then take a single step forward. Call that person. Submit that application. Speak your mind. Carl Jung said, what you resist not only persists but grows stronger. By facing the shadow, you weaken its grip. Each confrontation builds resilience. The key to the duel, the shadow will return. It always does, but each time you'll grow stronger. Your actions, no matter how small, are your strikes. They're proof of your growth. The shadow isn't your enemy, it's your sparring partner. Treat it as such, and you'll master the art of hard things. Step 5. Grand payoff. The shadow you once feared begins to change. At first, it felt like a relentless adversary. It stood in your way, whispering doubts, feeding your hesitation. But over time, something remarkable happens. Each duel weakens its resistance. Each step forward strengthens your resolve. The shadow, once your greatest obstacle, becomes something entirely different. Think back to the first duel, the hesitation, the fear, the overwhelming urge to avoid the task altogether. Now look at yourself. The hard things haven't disappeared, but you're different. The hard things no longer paralyze you, they don't feel impossible. If this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe for more lessons on discipline, mindset, and ancient wisdom. Explore my other videos for actionable strategies to overcome challenges and take control of your life. Let's keep sharpening your mind and spirit, one small step at a time.